Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The heat is back in Delhi, and welcome once again to this wonderful venue, as also to this excellent topic. The guests are very well known. I'll just take 1 minute. So we'll divide this show into two parts. The first part will deal with how to solve this recycling problem, and then we'll go to ma'am to discuss whether gold ETFs still make sense or not. You've made a lot of money on them. Okay, so here we start. So ladies and gentlemen, Shakespeare got it completely wrong. As far as India is concerned, all that glitters is still gold. There is a massive problem. We import about $6 billion of gold each month, and that's creating a lot of problems with the rupee. Let's start with Mr. Mehra. He's a generational jeweler and has gold flowing in his veins as well. Mr. Mehra, how do we solve this problem?
I think you first have to stand back, and I would urge the government really, is to look at this as a collective and rather than from a silo. We're looking at it only from a current account deficit issue at the moment. What we've seen in the past is, and I'll very quickly try and explain, is that the intention, I think, behind an increase in import duty is basically to hopefully reduce the consumption of gold. You're looking at elasticity of demand, but we've already seen the gold price at $75,000. At 1,75,000, there was no difference. There was no dip really in the consumption. So why at 150 or 160 will there be a dip? This is an incorrect method, and they're not viewing this correctly, in my humble opinion. How would I solve it? I would solve it actually by doing the opposite. I would actually make the import duty zero. Very quickly, she mentioned 32,000 tons. 32,000 tons in a household is, I mean, good numbers, very sweet. Everything is all very nice. Take a look at the number of kilos of gold that lies inventory, which are saleable in all the stores in India. You might come up with a number which would be anywhere, and arguably, perhaps Keyur could throw up more light, or World Gold Council. The number is a staggering 2,000, 5,000, 7,000 tons. That is saleable, that is jewelry which is ready for sale. I don't know how many wives or mothers would like to give away, or daughters would like to give away the jewelry of their parents. But I do know that all the jewelers want to sell jewelry. One of the immediate action that was taken by Dubai was immediately they started releasing advertisements saying, on your way to India, please come, drop by here and buy your jewelry and then carry on to India. 60% of handmade jewelry that's exported from Dubai is classified as Indian jewelry. So if you want Indian jewelry, you end up going to Dubai. Why? You're looking at exports, take a look at export. Export you look at something called the net foreign earning exchange. I cannot export through my website on the international gold price if I want to make an export of, say, 2 grams of gold. There is a lot of issues around that. That needs to be resolved. So how would I solve it? I would simply say make the import duty zero, bring the industry, give the industry an opportunity to perform at a level playing field to the international levels. And you might see a huge turnaround.
Okay, so bring 15% down to zero, and then let's see what happens. Mr. Shah, what would be your thought process? How do we restart the recycling of gold? How do we bring household gold into the market?
Hi, thank you. See, we deal with end consumers at a retail level. Gold recycling has always been going on. So that I don't think there's any question about it. But it is not coming into the organized sector. That is one major issue. That
by organized, you mean that it is
not
recorded.
They come back
by the government of India.
Yeah. So it gets recorded. There is a GST element to it. Now, there are two. See, from a consumer, I'll talk from a consumer angle, end consumer. What Mr. Mehra said is correct. There is a lot of jewelry which is ancestral. People don't part with it. But there is a huge quantum of bars and coins.
Yes.
Every household, they initially start their savings in gold. See, gold in India has been a time-tested asset class at any economic level, because they, for generations and very culturally ingrained, rightly so, that was the only savings mode which consumers had. They would accumulate over a period of time and then either sell it or convert into jewelry depending on their need. So for example, they want to buy a house. They know for 10 years, let me save in gold. In 10 years time, when I have enough quantity, I will sell it off. They want to sell it off to fund higher education of the children. right? So things there are, or there's a wedding, which is where they convert part of the gold for jewelry and part of it is as expenses for the wedding. Where is all that gold going? There are two reasons why consumers see whatever is happening, but how do we get more consumers to come, right, forward to sell? Bars, coins, see what stops them is one is the GST element. Today, if I buy gold as a consumer, I pay 3%, and if I sell today only, if I go to an organized player like we do at Gold Point, where retail touch points, straight away 3% is gone to the consumer. So say, why would we do that? Then they'll look for options where they'll get a better value, and that doesn't get them.
So, remove import duty of 15% and remove 3% GST.
GST on sale of
on
gold,
sale.
because gold is not a perishable. See, the thought about taxation, GST and all, it's all obviously perishable. It's used, and then there's no problem. But gold has always had a value. Second, there is a lot of locker gold, which, as World Gold Council estimates, and that 32,000 was talked about, a lot of that would be lying idle in lockers, not coming out. There's a taxation issue, capital gain tax, declaration. Reach out to those touch points, you will see a lot of gold coming out.
Okay, so I think two things that can be done with the stroke of a pen is reduce import duty to 0 and cut down GST to 3. Okay, now let's get Sugandha into the conversation. Ma'am, I should have come to you earlier. As a lady, you are best qualified to discuss gold. More importantly, as a financial expert, you know the ins and outs of gold ETF. So March was fabulous, 33,000 crores flowed into gold ETFs, and everybody and his mother has made tons of money when looking at the rally in gold. Now what? We are stuck somewhere like 150, 160, 170. More gains ahead.
So hi Shell, and thanks to India Today team for inviting me to this esteemed panel. So talking first, let me set the context of green gold. So what is to me is green gold? Green gold is not just recycled gold. It is domestically circulated, financially productive gold, and also domestically circulated gold. So now when we talk about gold ETF, there is a seismic shift in the way India views gold actually. So for generations, consumers have been buying gold not just as an ornament, but as a strategic asset also. It has acted as an emergency fund, as an insurance policy also, and emergency liquidity also. So now increasingly there is a shift amongst the younger generation who are viewing gold as a financial asset, as a part of their investment portfolio. So even central banks have been doing that. They have been voraciously buying gold since last several years. So gold is increasingly preserving the purchasing power, is diversifying the risk, and is stabilizing your portfolio by providing better returns. So I think this frenzy for gold is here to stay. Why? Because it has endured generations and has survived several economic cycles. So we have already seen that from around an AUM of 15,000 crore in just 2020, it has surged to around 1.9 lakh crore in 2026. But yes, it is becoming a burden on nation's balance sheet, even as it is strengthening a household balance sheet. So we have to look at this issue. So the issue is not about we should stop buying gold. India's affinity for gold is here to stay. So we have to change the source of consumption of gold. So it has to be more of recycled gold, and we have to look at the digitization angle of it. So India has successfully digitized payments through UPI. We have digitized ownership through demat accounts. We have digitized communication through WhatsApp. So same is the way gold can come from a physical angle to digital angle.
No, ma'am. Even in that case, you have to buy physical gold to back that e-receipt.
So, but then it can be recycled gold, and that can be stored in regulated vaults and can be converted into other digital ownership forms. So it has to be efficient ownership of gold in a digital manner.
No. Here the issue is that one of the most successful trades in the market, which was to buy gold and keep on buying, is now working against the finances of the country. It no less than Mr. Modi says कि भाई 1 साल के लिए मत खरीदो. मेहरा साहब दिल पे हाथ रखिए एक बार. रखिए. हाँ. अब आप मेरे को बताइए, how has footfall increased or decreased after PM Modi's statement into South Delhi jewellery shops?
Can I take my hand off?
Of course.
Okay, wonderful. Before I answer this question, can I just come back over here
Please.
to what you, and just add a little to what she said?
Please.
There's a report that was published in 2017 by Niti Aayog. It talks about the industry as a whole. It doesn't talk about silos. It talks about hallmarking. It talks about exports. It talks about everything and everything. What's wonderful about the report is it tells you where you are today, the industry, where you are, where you ought to go, and how to get there. Implementation of the report unfortunately suffered. A lot of the solutions lie there. For example, you talked about digitized gold. The solution is very simple, and you're so correct to point out is that you need a physical bag of gold. See, look at the problem in toto. Again, there is something called a gold savings account that was recommended in that report. It also suggested that the sovereign gold bond scheme be shut down.
Yes.
A gold saving account be operated. What you so correctly said is that if I sell gold and I don't have a physical bag, that's no good. And if I end up importing it, that's also no good. Therein lies the trick. Take a look at an industry where 4.5 lakh or 8.5 lakh, or whatever, some bizarre numbers is the size of the industry. Look at the amount of exposure of bank debt. There is inventory which lies, if I was to, and this is simple economics really, I was to give him a loan in rupee and say, I will use your inventory as the physical bag. That's where the trick lies.
So,
And it's a doable project, but, and again, I could delve in deeper and deeper and deeper. I would end up, honestly, it's a very technical product. And more technicality would require more than the 30 minutes that I would have. And I would honestly, I'd be dominating this conversation, which would be rather unfair to them as well. So let me quickly come back to the answer of the question you asked. The answer is that Mr. Modi has very strategically made this announcement at a time that he's bound to find a lot of success because this is the lowest season possible. If I was to juxtapose this season against last season, same month to month, I don't know how much of a difference I would find. So I would say this, because I love my Prime Minister, and because I voted for this Prime Minister, I would say is that he's been very successful.
okay.
So just don't ask for the details.
Okay. So let me just give you a brief background about gold. My boss sitting here in front of us does not allow me to wear what I genuinely want to wear. So I am deeply, deeply into gold, and I intuitively understand this metal. Now I want to find out, we have a crisis of plenty. 32,000 टन हमारे यहाँ रखा हुआ है. हम 1,000 टन import करते हैं हर साल. It is just the strike of a pen from some bureaucrat who can solve this problem. This is what I understand from you two.
May I?
Please.
Talk about refining. Okay, let's talk about one by one. On all of the facets the industry is. We're the diamond cutters of the world. Why aren't we the gold refiners of the world? Get into details. There is one simple stroke of a pen, how it changes the industry. Refineries are generally set up in rural areas. Okay, tier 2, tier 3 cities. That's where you're looking for employment. You want to generate employment there, it's fantastic. Why can't a small refinery not import gold? Because they have to take it from the mine of source. A miner says, I don't want to sell 2 tons or 5 tons. I want to give larger business. A refiner cannot go to JP Morgan under the whole context of blood gold. JP Morgan say you can't buy, you have to buy it from the small details that disable business. You see, so when policy is supposed to enable business, unfortunately our policy disables business. And a larger point, the larger question that has to be asked is, why is gold, on one side we talk about it being and representing wealth. Why then is, and also in that same breath, there is something called a consumer price index of which gold forms a part. Today they're considering saying, let me take that out because this is now inflating the numbers incorrectly. Then why is gold not in the current account, or rather in the capital account as opposed to the current account, as is done in Switzerland?
Mr. Mehra, we'll debate this a little later. Let's get Keyur into the conversation. You speak to a lot of your peers in the lending industry, and of course gold loans as a portfolio has grown dramatically. You just have to look at 2 stock prices to see how successful that business is. Now, what are those peers telling you? They should be really very happy because rising gold prices mean more loans with the same amount of collateral.
Yes. See, gold loan industry has done very well. In fact, gold loan industry in India had shown the way, say 20 years ago, that how the idle gold can be brought back into the formal economy. That is where they've been super successful. which is where, so for example, one of the solutions which was thought of was gold monetization scheme, which flopped, right? Why it flopped? Again, the practicality and the implementation at the ground level. Consumers were expected to go to unknown hallmarking centers to go and give the gold to get it assessed. Why couldn't gold loan retail branches, which are the face of the consumers, or good jewelers, they could have been the collection points. That could have helped. That would have ensured the success.
Maybe
And
they
one
didn't want
other-
it to succeed, therefore they wrote it that way.
What?
I'm saying maybe they didn't want it to succeed, therefore they wrote the fine print that way.
I don't think so. They didn't want to. See, the intentions are very right. Gold monetization scheme is exactly what you started off as a precursor. There's 32,000 tons of gold. And there's a lot of ideal gold, not the sentimental jewelry, heritage gold. But there's a lot of gold which is lying. Consumers are not bringing it out. Right? Now, gold loan has become successful. And again, it has become more of a very normal thing. In earlier days, it used to be, I would be as a consumer very shameful to go and pledge my gold because people would think socially that something is wrong. But now, 90% of these gold loans are more of working capital for the mass normal consumer. They want, a shopkeeper wants some working capital. They don't have a credit limit. They'll just pledge the gold, get that money, use it, pay back, get the gold back. And that's a cycle which goes on. So things like this, again, small things at the ground level, small tweaks can make a lot of difference.
Okay, I'll come back to gold loans to you also, Mr. Mehra, but let's get Sugandha into the conversation. As a percentage of your overall wealth generating portfolio, how much should a gold ETF be?
So I think it should be 5%. Rest of it can be looked at from the angle of EGRs. EGRs, I would like to create awareness about that product. It's a new product category launched by NSE, which integrates the physical market with the formal financial markets. So the way demat accounts have done to equities, EGRs can do to gold. So that was all about the digital ownership of gold. That would allow you to pledge your gold, trade in gold, invest in gold, and even if you want to redeem that gold, you can do that. So it makes it much more easier. So I think the ownership angle has to change. It was all about physical ownership. Now it has to be more of digital ownership. And that will also reduce the pressure on our current account deficit, lead to rupee stability at a time when we are
Ma'am,
already...
it will not, because you have to physically buy the
No,
gold
but
to back that
my point
e-receipt.
is that the old gold which is lying idle in our lockers and vaults can be refined, can be vaulted, and can be converted into EGRs. So you also are saved of the hassles of storage of gold. People face these issues, they have to pay locker charges. So when you have regulated vaults with the exchange, it can become a formal channel of recycling of gold as well.
Okay, Mr.
On
Shah,
this,
you want
I
to come in?
add,
Yes.
ETFs physically backed by gold, even EGR would be. But what it helps, a lot of people, and especially the 10%, the top 10% who trade in gold. Normal Indian consumers, they save in gold, not trade for short-term profit booking. A lot of that can be circular. They would not want physical redemption. So for example, even gold ETF, the gold which is there, can that be lent out to exporters, gold metal loan, which that would help. So a lot of things is in the pipeline, which is also adding to the actual direct imports. But this regularized gold which is there in SEBI vaults, or digital gold, which is there, which is backed by physical gold, can that be lent out to jewelers? So you will cut out all your investment related, where they don't actually need physical. They just want to buy now and sell when the price goes up. You don't need that much physical. Keep coming in.
So I want to add one point of it. So I think financial participation of gold does not require physical possession of gold. You can very well have that in a digital form. So I would certainly like to talk about a vision about having to create bullion banks also, which can provide a domestic source of supply to jewelers also, to refiners also, and can also act as a collateral and also provide liquidity to households. So it's a wonderful tool. So why not always look at the physical part of it? Because more and more people are looking at gold as an investment asset. The Q1 data substantiates that. In Q1 of 2026, what we have seen is that investment demand for the first time in India has surpassed the jewelry demand. It was 82 tons as compared to 66 tons of jewelry demand. So we are already seeing that shift coming in India with the way prices have performed in since 2020. gold has given a CAGR return of around 14%. So all the more reason to participate in gold, and we do not advocate reducing the ownership of gold.
Yeah.
It has to go up rather.
So that's a fear and greed part of the gold of the market. We'll come to that a little later. Mr. Mehra, you wanted to add something on what Keyur was pointing out.
I just wanted to say is that you've mentioned twice already, is that ETFs buying gold require a physical bag which
Yes.
also needs to be imported. I wanted to stress again, I mentioned this earlier, I just wanted to re-stress this, and I cannot stress this enough. You do not need to import the gold. The divinity lies in the details. Take a look at the gold metal loan product, how it functions. Take a look at how can I take the rupee and how can I convert it into a gold loan? It's possible. It's possible. You just need someone, so which goes back again to the same book reference that I would make you, the Niti Aayog report, which suggests that you need a gold board, if not a ministry, for gold. You get in people that understand the product and have a deep understanding of the product so that they can come up with a solution rather than a piecemeal, half-baked solution that we're looking at now.
So what is that full meal solution?
If you want to sell ETF gold, if you want to sell digital gold, you need to be able to sell it without importing gold. Then it's successful, otherwise it means nothing. And you can do this by using that rupee, giving a working capital limit to a jeweler by using his inventory as the back. So I have now got a physical back through a sale of digital gold. Backing तो होगी, इनके पास inventory है, इनके gold को मैंने physical back ले लिया इनके deposit के against, तो हो गया ना मेरा काम. It's possible. This is possible. But for that, you first need to review the gold metal loan as a product. That product is a porous product. It's a poor product in its current form. It needs to be reviewed. It needs to be done. It needs to become a robust financial product. We're the only country, look please, inventory financing typically happens at, what have we, 12% or 14%. MSMEs have been set up, you get a rebate, you have financially, please give us some sort of a rebate, okay, 1%, 2%. Gold metal loan is called gold leasing overseas. This is a financial product in which every stakeholder makes money and is given out at 3%, 3.5% per annum. So I am giving him gold at 3.5%. His working capital requirement is being fulfilled by gold. If I gave him rupee, he'd buy gold because he needs to make jewelry. The gold metal loan is really the silver bullet. That's really what you need to attract. And if you're able to correct that, you would find and make it a robust financial product. His inventory financing would happen at 3.5%. इससे सस्ता क्या हो सकता है?
क्या हो सकता है? सही बात है. Mr. Shah, one thing I wanted to understand from you, there is absolutely no Indian middle class household which does not have a physical quantity of gold in the form of either bullion or no, jewelry is there, but the other two forms, coins or bars. Now, for a moment, presume that all 90% of it is not purchased from salary money, purchased from untaxed money. Now, if that gold were to be recycled, what were the three things that you would require from Government of India to increase that dramatically?
GST.
Remove GST.
GST, that needs to be there. Second, encourage or incentivize more organized sector players like us to be the face where consumers trust and they're willing to sell it. They think it's fair pricing and transparency in purity assessment. That's where also a lot of people don't. So these are the two main things which I would say. If this happens, and third way I think we touched upon, if possible, maybe have a moratorium period, remove the capital gain tax for some time. That come and so that's, I know, that's obviously, as I said, if possible. But that also is a fear that why should I just pass on the gold and let me liquidate whichever way. But this will open up the doors. It could be a period where, okay, we're going through a national, issue. Why don't you come and sell it? Don't worry.
Okay. Zero import duty, reduction of GST to zero, and removal of capital gains tax.
Or give a period where, people come and declare.
Temporary removal of capital gains tax. Mehra Sahab, would you like to add to this list?
I could add, I would just, like I said, I think we have 6 minutes left. My list would be far longer. Move the current account to the capital account, first of all. So treat gold correctly. It ought to be treated differently, number one.
Okay.
Number two, create a gold board so you get thinkers, that are policy makers that actually know and have a deep understanding of the product. I can go on and on.
सर हम
There is a
10,000
premise.
साल से गोल्ड खरीद रहे हैं, हमसे ज़्यादा क्या अंडरस्टैंडिंग होगी गोल्ड की किसी को?
Policy formation and buying jewelry में बहुत बड़ा अंतर है. पहली चीज़. Your desire to procure more gold jewelry is, and God bless you for that. I mean, may nobody invest in coins. But and I must confess, is that I have never experienced as a retailer, when I sit on the shop floor and I interface with my client, I have never been in a position to encourage them to exchange their jewelry. It doesn't happen. It happens at your behest. It happens if the client says, I want to change. मैं उसको कहूँ कि जी आप अपनी पुरानी चेन दे दो. First of all, I don't know उसके पास पुरानी चेन है कि नहीं. दूसरी चीज़, how can I ask? But coming back to answering what you were saying about the list of things to be done, I would strongly urge that you need to take a wider view. Stop creating a problem where there is none. You have started the conversation by saying undisclosed income is basically what you were talking about. 70% of jewelry was sold in rural areas where there is little or no financial inclusion. So you are presuming that that is number two money. I am saying it's not.
It isn't.
It isn't. So if it's not number two money, then how do you say that the farmer's income that he's bought gold with or jewelry with is number two? ये तो मतलब जवान बुढ़िया वाली बात हो गई ना?
We are getting into the semantics of it. I'm trying to understand three major things we've decided. I need two more from you.
Aim to make us the refining hub of the world. Aim to make us the refining hub of the world. Aim to make us the jewelry capital of the world. You don't see any FDI in jewelry. Why not? It's the problem is that all your issues are stemming from the high import duty. I come back to that again.
Okay, fair point.
So exports of bullion be allowed for the refinery?
Indeed. Why not?
Exports of bullion is not allowed.
And a bigger point is, why is there no...
Then you will encourage. If you encourage refining, import and allow them to export bullion. Export of bullion is not allowed. Only jewelry is allowed.
You see
Dubai, why it's a hub? Because anything.
A higher import duty suggests or creates an environment where I can do business. For example, please, I'll play the bad role here. I won't say Keyur is doing anything. Why should I? Somebody else is doing business in cash. He's procuring smuggled gold. And smuggled gold comes at a cheaper rate than officially landed gold. So how do I compete with that guy now? So some policy maker has to also remember, policy has to enable business. Here it's disabling business. That's the only point I wanted to make, humbly.
Okay. Let's get Sugandha into the conversation. So what next? We have a roaring success, which is the gold ETF. We've now started e-receipts of gold. What else do you expect in the financialization of this wonderful yellow metal over the next 3 or 4 years?
We can have a revamped gold monetization scheme. The previous one did not work well. The revamped G monetization scheme could actually integrate vaults, refiners, jewelers. I think jewelers can be first collection centers because families trust their jewelers more than the banks. So attractive interest rates, capital gains tax exemption, plus tax amnesty. Why the GMS did not work previously? Because people were not very comfortable sharing their ancestral heirloom jewelry, but for the fear because it was inherited and unaccounted for. If we can give tax amnesty, like we have brought the black money into circulation, we can bring that old gold into circulation. That would be one point. Second is creating bullion banks. Many countries abroad have created such bullion banks, which can actually act as a source of supply for jewelers, refiners, and also provide capital to businesses. So second is that. The third is creating more awareness about these financial products like EGRs, gold ETF. Yes, digital gold is also there, but then that's not regulated one. So we would like to promote the regulated ones. So gold can be integrated into the formal channels. So that is a need of the hour, and it's a low-hanging fruit. So put that into perspective. If we just recycle or just monetize even 1% of the gold, which is vast resources of around 32,000 tons, we can potentially save around $41 billion at current prices.
Okay, 1 minute left. Now, I have most important question. Audience wants only that. Price of gold 1 year from now. Mehra Saab, you will go first.
Oh, this is terrible. I'm going to put my foot in my mouth. Can I say it's going to be less? Whereas my buyer will evaporate. I'm shooting myself in the foot. Can I say it's going to be more and then at some point somebody coming to me saying, कि कम हो गया, ये क्या किया? Pardon?
I need a 6-digit number. 1 year from now, सोना कितना होगा? Madam ने तो बता दिया gold ETF.
I am flummoxed. You know, this is like my wife asking me, you do love me. How can I say no? But then if I say yes, she's going to say demonstrate it with the present. What do I do?
The best part of being a journalist is you get to ask easy questions. Answering them is difficult. अभी 27 सेकंड रह गए, एक नंबर बोल दो, 10 तो तुसी.
Can I go after her?
Yeah, sure.
Deflection works better.
Okay.
I'll just say, I represent the mass consumers. They don't look at 1 year from now. 3 to 5 years is always going to go up.
चलो गल
It's
दसो
a
तुसी.
time-tested asset class for Indians.
After 5 years, where will gold be?
If I take the last 10 years ka thing, it could almost be double.
Okay, take.
If I go by the historic. But as an Indian, it will always go up in the long run. I'm not looking at profit booking 6 months, 1 year.
Sugandha, 2 years from now, price of gold?
2 lakh, more than 2 lakh.
More than 2
So
lakh.
there would be short-term noise, but then overall it's very bullish.
May I say something about the gold monetization scheme, please?
No, time's up. You need to give me the 6-digit number.
It'll increase. It'll increase.
How much?
No idea. No idea.
We'll close it here, ladies and gentlemen. What a wonderful panel. A round of applause, please.
Thank you everyone for that very engaging conversation. May I please invite on stage Siddharth Zarabi, Group Editor, Business Today, to please give a token of appreciation to all these panelists of ours who have kick-started this conversation on a very, very thought-provoking note. Warm round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for all our panelists.